Welcome back to this week's episode of Unlocked. I would say I'm really happy to be here, guys, but then I would be lying to you. So there's that. I'm kind of lying, kind of not. I'm grateful to be here. Like, I'm alive and I'm not in prison. So that's pretty good. But guys, don't laugh. I mean, I'm funny, I know. Okay. No, sorry guys, dark humor. If you need a class in that, you can reach out to me at any time because I could probably teach a really awesome class on that. But we've got an update on the appeal, which a lot of people have been asking questions. You love my solos. You like when I kind of give you the rundown of everything that's happening. I want to correct some things that are being said that may not be true and help you better understand where we're at. So we filed the appeal. We went for our oral arguments, did the whole shebang, and well, we got the opinion back. It's like 55 pages. And as I read through it, I agreed with some things, didn't agree with some things, but that is what it is. We had to get to this process so that we can move on. And the appeal ended with mom getting resentenced. So now we sit and wait, hopefully no more than 90 days to go for that hearing. And hopefully she comes home because the government said they could not, the appeals court said they could not find the evidence used to convict mom. So that is a really big deal. And for people that don't understand how big of a deal that is, I mean, she's been sitting in prison for 18 months, but yet they couldn't find anything to tie her to bank fraud, before 2007. But even in 2007, all they say in the opinion is that she went and paid loans. Paying a loan is not there. That's not conspiracy to defraud. That's not it's baffling to me, honestly, when you read this. And so mom will go get resentenced. Hopefully she comes home. If she comes home, oh my gosh, life will be so much better. And then I'll have time to truly focus on all of dad's stuff. This really wasn't, people view it as a loss for dad, but in the grand scheme of things, when you read through it, the appeals court gave us a very solid case for ineffective counsel by saying trial lawyers should have done X, Y, and Z. They should have objected. They should have filed the motion timely. For some reason, they decided to file it 2 years past the deadline. So none of that really makes sense to me, especially when you spend an absolute fortune. I want to say around probably $5 million on a legal defense at trial. And this is where it gets you. So that will be huge because we could be granted a new trial potentially. And I'm going to hopefully I can get my podcast with Brett Tolman done pretty soon, trying to work that out. Brett can help explain some things. Alex has already explained a lot to you guys. If you haven't watch that episode, go back and watch it or listen to it because it is very informative. Very, very, very informative. So I just hope and pray. Yesterday was actually a really tough day, not gonna lie. Chloe had therapy, and when I sat in with her therapist, obviously updated her on everything. I don't know, I struggle at times on how honest I should be with her. Like, I mean, she's 11 years old. But frankly, her innocence pretty much has been taken at this point. Going from her biological parents being pieces of garbage to then, my parents adopting her, my parents then leaving. Chloe suffers from a lot of abandonment stuff. And so that is really challenging, and I want to try to shield her as much as I can, but it's 2024. Everything's online. They see things, they read things, and I had yet to have a conversation with her to explain things because I really didn't know how, because I know for me that I'm in this place of wanting to rejoice, but at the same time, I don't want to get my hopes up. I tend to do that a lot. So I just don't want to disappoint her. I don't want to disappoint Grayson. And at her therapy session, I spoke to her therapist, and then Chloe came in and we sat down, and her therapist asked, like, hey, do you think your outburst today maybe had something to do with things that you've heard. And she asked Chloe, like, have you heard things? And Chloe goes, yeah. And we asked her about what, and she said, well, mom and dad. And it was so heartbreaking to sit there and watch her face as I tell her that there's a chance mom could come home. Like this, we had to do the appeal. There's a chance she could come home, but for dad, nothing's happening for him right now. And to see, she kind of had like tears well up in her eyes. And it was literally, I'm like sitting there wiping tears from my face and just watching how much hurt and disappointment that kids have to go through at such a young age. It breaks my heart. The system has absolutely they just don't care about families. They don't care how it impacts families. They don't care about the children that are impacted by having parents that are incarcerated. And I know a lot of you, or some of you, will say, oh, well, if they cared about their kids, they wouldn't have put themselves in a position to go to prison in the first place. Well, Karens, just back off, okay? Because I don't have time for you today. And you clearly don't know the full story, if that's how you feel. So that's kind of, watching Chloe and having to explain that to her was really difficult. But at the same time, she has to know what's going on. I have to try to explain it to her. And we're working through that. So hopefully mom comes home. I'm making it my goal that like by Thanksgiving, she's home. So I will keep you guys updated on that whole process. And now the next process for dad is going through and filing the motion for the 2255, which is ineffective assistance of counsel, and then going, taking that step by step. But yes, that's pretty much where we're at with that. And then for people that are watching the podcast right now, you probably notice, since I'm wearing a short sleeve shirt, first off, I haven't worn a short sleeve shirt because I have been deathly afraid of showing my new tattoo, just like because I knew it would hit the media and then my dad would find out. And oh my gosh, yes, he may be in prison, but like Todd Chrisley has got some opinions for sure. So finally, I went and told him about my tattoo right here. It's in mom's handwriting. So she wrote me a letter and right here. So this was like when I got the tattoo, and that's the letter with her signature. And I went and had it tattooed on my arm. I don't know. When did I get this done? Like 5 months after they left, maybe. I think I probably. Yeah, I've had it for a really long time. Oh yeah. No, I got it right after they left, or was it? No, it may have been like the end of last summer, because I was like, thank God I got it then, because then I was like, all right, I can wear long sleeve shirts. I can wear sweatshirts. Like he's never going to see it. And then after going down to Pensacola and it being hotter than the hinges of hell, I was like, all right, well, it's 90 degrees and I'm wearing a long sleeve shirt. Not only is it hot as hell, but I look like an absolute idiot right now. So I just decided to take it upon myself and show dad my tattoo. It went over just as bad as you all can think it went over. He's not a fan of tattoos, doesn't like them, but it's okay. Because look, it like softened the blow, I was like, Dad, look at it. It's mom's handwriting. It like makes me I feel like I have a piece of her. And he was like, oh, I would hate to know that we were such piss poor excuse for parents that you felt like you had to go get it tattooed on your arm. You know how he does, just over exaggerating to a T. But yeah, so I love it. I kind of want to get more, but I'm probably not going to get more because I've already had 2 removed because I hated how they looked on me. So I would say that would be pretty much the definition of insanity, doing the same thing and expecting a different result. So I probably won't get any more. That's not to say that I won't actually, well, Grayson really wants one, but I've told him no. I've told him that he has to sit on it for a few years. I obviously can't stop him. He's 18, but I've advised him to sit on it for a few years. And then he asked if we could get matching ones. And if I did that, my parents would not be too thrilled with me. So I'm probably not going to do that either. This episode of Unlocked is brought to you by BetterHelp. You guys know I've spoken about BetterHelp time and time again, and that's because I am a firm believer in their product. I mean, BetterHelp is absolutely amazing, and it's all online and designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. All you do is just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. I don't know about you, but 2024 has started off with quite a bang. And for me, being a single parent, single income household, trying to deal with finances, kids, my own personal mental health, it's all been a huge challenge. I am not going to lie. And that is where therapy and BetterHelp has come into play, because I have started to realize that if I am not my best self possible, then how in the heck am I going to be able to operate? So that's where I turn to BetterHelp. You can visit betterhelp.com/Savannah today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Savannah. This episode of Unlocked is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. To all my podcast listeners, whether you love true crime or comedies, celebrity interviews, news, or even motivational speakers, you call the shots on what's in your podcast queue, right? And guess what? Now you can call the shots on your auto insurance too. Enter the Name Your Price tool from Progressive. The Name Your Price tool puts you in charge of your auto insurance by working just the way it sounds. You tell Progressive how much you want to pay for car insurance, and they'll show you a variety of coverages that fit within your budget, giving you options. Now that's something you'll want to press play on. It's easy to start a quote, and you'll be able to choose the best option for you fast. It's just one of the many ways you can save with Progressive Insurance. Quote today at progressive.com to try the Name Your Price tool for yourself and join the over 28 million drivers who trust Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Okay, so like I said, we've touched on the appeal. We've touched on all that. If you didn't see my video that I did on the appeal, just so you get a better idea, I'll read you what exactly they said when it pertains to mom. After careful consideration and with the benefit of oral argument, we affirm the district court on all issues except for the loss amount attributed to Julie. The district court did not identify the evidence it relied on to hold Julie accountable for losses incurred before 2007, and we could not independently find it in the record. So we vacate Julie's sentence and remand solely for the district court to make the factual findings and calculations necessary to determine loss, restitution, and forfeiture as to Julie and to resentence her accordingly. So what that means is right now, obviously everyone knows the whole $17 million lien that the government has. I mean, come on, you like imprison people and then expect them to pay you $17 million. Doesn't really work. That number's also not accurate if you look at the records. But that's another thing that we have to work through. They held mom accountable for that full amount, which should have never been done, and they had no factual findings to hold her accountable for that. So they threw out a $4 million mark that we still don't know if that's accurate or not. Attorneys are looking into it right now, but with that being said, that $17 million will go away for her, which is great. And then we just have to negotiate, figure out. And what's so sad about this whole thing is that you're literally negotiating with the devil. Like the government, they have a 98% conviction rate. Why is that? That is because they scare people into entering into a plea agreement. They have unlimited resources. They can fight you till the very end. And that's what sucks, because I look at this, and when we got this opinion back, it was pretty bittersweet, because not only it sucked that like there wasn't a better outcome for dad, but then I looked at it and I was so grateful for the outcome for mom. And then I thought to myself, what about all the other families that didn't have a Savannah to fight for them, that didn't have the resources or lawyers or just didn't know any better? They're sitting there. My mother just has sat there for 18 months, and they just came back and said they couldn't find the evidence that the government used to convict her. But that wouldn't have happened if I wouldn't have fought tooth and nail for it. If I wouldn't have worked my butt off to financially take care of lawyers and things of that nature. So it's heartbreaking because I look at other families and I look at the struggle and I look at the kids involved and how it absolutely breaks families. And it's just sad that this is the country that we live in, that this was the country I was taught to love and, greatest nation on earth. Well, pretty sure that the United States of America has fallen out of the top 10 happiest countries. That just came out. And that right there should tell you that we're clearly not doing something right. And when it comes to our system, I did a question and answer on Instagram the other night. And let me tell you, okay, I'll hit the important part first and then sidetracked. Duh. But anyways, so I did a question and answer and I get the same freaking question multiple times. And it is, oh, you didn't care about this until your parents, whatever. You're right. I didn't care about it. It didn't affect me. I was too self-consumed and worried about my own life to worry about anything else. And now I know better. Now I can do better. And I'm still going to continue to fight for people who can't fight for themselves and hopefully implement change in a system that so desperately needs it. But during that question and answer, guys, the amount of weirdos that want to see my feet. There was one guy that said, I want to suck on your toes. Like, what in the hell is wrong with people? Like, if someone ever tried to do that to me, I would lose my shit. I would lose my cool. Like, that is just... Sean, have you ever sucked on anyone's toes? No? Have you? Oh! Wow, guys. All right. I've probably offended a few people in this studio right now, but if you're a toe sucker, you deserve to be offended. Like, I just can't. I did ask Sean. Sean said he hadn't sucked toes before. Yeah. So, okay. And then everyone's asking too on Dad, how he feels about the appeal not going in his favor. He's fine. He was crying like happy tears knowing that Mom could be home. That's the only thing he cares about right now is getting her home. And isn't that what you want in a partner? Like someone who cares more about you than themselves. So he was so excited for Mom. Mom obviously was heartbroken for Dad. But hopefully she can come home and then she can go visit him. And that will be a game changer, I think, for his overall mental health and well-being and for hers too. So I'm hoping that happens, but it was crazy. I had a call with my publicist today because she just had to call and like vent to me for a second. She was like, can you believe the crap that people do? Apparently a production company reached out to her and asked if my mom was exclusive with a production company yet. And Alexa was like, you do realize she's still in prison, correct? And he's like, yeah, but I'm just thinking for when she gets out. And Alexa was like, I'm sorry, but do you think that is what she's worried about right now? No. But if you go back to one of the podcasts at the very beginning, when we were talking about cancel culture, which is the bane of my existence, I absolutely hate it. All the people canceling, all of us are the ones who have way too many skeletons in their closet. So just remember, when you cancel someone, you could be next on the list if all your dirty laundry was aired out for the world to see. So where was I going with that? Oh, yeah, where I was going with that was at the very beginning when everyone was canceling us, I said, just wait. If something goes in our favor, all these people are going to come out of the woodworks. They're going to want to sign us to this, sign us to that. And look what's happening. So it kind of pisses me off, but at the end of the day, it's the world that we live in. It's also the entertainment industry. If you're not in the entertainment industry, don't get in the entertainment industry because it's really terrible, if I'm being honest. I say that, but then Chloe, she really wants to like start doing all these funny videos and stuff. And the kid is a comedian. She truly is. Like, look at Sean. Sean's like, yep, 100%. I love her to death. So I'm trying to steer her away from that. But frankly, if it's what she wants to do, I'll let her do it. I'll just have to protect her like at all cost. So when it comes to mom coming home, I know a lot of people are going to come out of the woodworks, but I have to let her kind of process things. There's going to be a lot of things when she comes home that is not going to be easy. And the PTSD that these men and women suffer from being in prison is horrendous. Like just the things that they think about, the things they've witnessed, the abuse, the just little things that you really don't think of, it's going to be really difficult. And she and I have already had the conversation. She told me, she was like, you can't leave me when I come home, right? And I was like, what do you mean? She was like, I mean, I know you want to like have your own life and I want you to do that. She was like, but for the first few months, like you're going to have to stay with me. Like we're going to have to get adjusted. And it kind of like it broke my heart in a way to know that the system breaks people in a matter of days. Like just to watch my parents become so institutionalized. And I say to her all the time, she'll be like, oh yeah, the inmates. I'm like, no. I was like, you're not referring to yourself like that. You are a person and you're worth more than the things that you're saying to yourself. So it is going to be challenging for her to come home, and there's going to be lots of therapy involved, lots of anything I can do to help her get in the best space she could possibly ever be in. That's what I'm going to do. So whether she goes to on-site like I did, I mean, that's what I'm kind of in the process of trying to figure out what's going to be best for her. Put a good plan in place for therapy and just getting her on the right track, because I can only imagine how she's going to feel coming home, and it's going to be overwhelming. And when I get the call that she can come home, I honestly don't think I'm going to tell anyone. I'm probably just going to go and get her, bring her home, let her get settled, and then let Chloe and Grayson walk into the room and not know that she's there. I don't know. It's just I think it's just going to be a lot to be reintegrated back into things when you live literally in the same freaking room 24 hours a day, freaking 365 days a year. Like it's going to be tough for her. So that does worry me. But at the same time, we all know we can do it. I think that's the toughest thing, is that you have to believe in yourself. You have to give yourself grace. And like I said, when I sat down today, I really didn't want to show up today. It's just one of those days. I also we've talked about this before, I don't process things like the moment they happen. I immediately go into fix it, next steps, how do we resolve this? And then after a few days, I start to process, and it kind of hits me like a ton of bricks. So it sucks, because my dad's my best friend, like in the entire freaking world, like my absolute best friend. And I still look at things as if he doesn't come home. Like, what happens? What, do I go get married without my dad? Do I have a kid without my dad? I don't want to do that. So those things do hit me at times, and it sucks. I don't know how to process it at times, and a lot of times I just push it away, but I'm trying to figure it out. I also I want to know if this is something you guys would be interested in following. So obviously I've been very, there's nothing off limits with me, in case you haven't noticed. I lay it all out there. And frankly, if I can make some money off of it, of course, why would I not? I'll exploit myself. It's fun. But I have been very outspoken about all my issues and like my endometriosis, all that stuff. And that video went literally like viral. Everyone was wanting to know all the information about my freaking medical care. I was like, great, fine, I'll tell you. But with that being said, I also am looking into freezing my eggs, and I feel like that's something you guys would maybe be interested in, considering the fact that 90% of my following is female. But the reason I want to do it is so I don't feel pressure to have a kid. a doctor in LA was like, you need to be done having kids by the time you're 30 because of all your health stuff, this, that, whatever. So of course that's in the back of my mind. And guys, let me just tell you, I'm about to be 27, but it feels like I'm like 30. It does. It feels like I'm old. I'm not going to lie. It does. And it, like, recovering is so much harder. I feel like after 25, it just goes downhill. And like things just, and too, like the other day I was looking, I'm not going to lie. I was looking in the mirror and I was like, my boobs feel like they've fallen. I was like, what is up with this? Gravity is just not, I don't believe in it. I don't like it. So with that being said, I'm getting closer to 30 and I don't want to feel like I have to have a kid right now. I also want to basically have an insurance policy to have kids whenever I want to have them. If I want to have them at 35, if I want it, which that's a little too old. Not too old, but like in my mind, you know, as Aaron just like gives me the dirtiest look in the world. But I just don't want to feel any pressure. So if that's something you guys would be interested in, let me know, because we all know I'll let you in on it. I mean, I have no shame. But with that being said, next week's episode is one you don't want to miss. I read some letters that may make you angry, may make you cry, may make you just feel all the emotions. So you don't want to miss that episode. And I'm way more prepared for that one next week than I was today, because I didn't want to do it today. So with that being said, I hope you have a great week. Guys, it seems like I was like the most ADHD human being in the world with that one.